The Mystic Sage of the Punjab, a glimpse of the life and work of Maharishi Shiv Brat Lal. Written by David Christopher Lane. Narrated by Dean William Rudoy. In 1912, Lal founded his ashram in Gopiganj in Mirzapur, Uttar Pradesh, India. His discourses attracted seekers of the Radhaswami movement from all over India and abroad. He died on 23 February 1939 at the age of 79. His holy samad stands at Radhaswami Dham near Gopiganj. Among those who continued his work was Baba Faqir Chand of Hoshiarpur. Introduction. In the winter of 1977-1978, I was pleasantly surprised when I opened up a package that was postmarked from Hoshiarpur, Punjab, India. Besides a beautifully handwritten letter from Baba Faqir Chand, a renowned Shabd yoga master in the Radhaswami tradition, there was an old, very parched copy of Maharishi Shiv Brat Lal's book, Light on Anand Yoga. I had only just recently learned of Faqir Chand's existence. He was 92 years old at the time, and knew nothing about his guru, Shiv Brat Lal. The book had clearly seen better days, as the pages were frayed and some would crumble if held too tightly. It contained the essence of his philosophy on spirituality and mysticism. Yet I was impressed with the clarity of its message and the details it provided about yoga and listening to the inner sound current during meditation. Although Shiv Brat Lal was a prolific writer, it is generally estimated that he has written over 3,000 separate pieces, from pamphlets to articles to books. Very little is actually known about him in the West. Thankfully, due to the reminiscences of his chief disciple and successor, Faqir Chand, and Muhammad Ansarullah's biography of him, Data Dayal Maharishi, in the Makers of Indian Literature series, we get a general outline of Shiv Brat Lal's life and work. We have been fortunate to utilize their original work throughout. I have felt for a long time that a small introductory book on the life and teachings of this remarkable mystic should be published in English. The following is but a glimpse of Shiv Brat Lal's life, interweaved with judicious quotes from his writings, specifically as they relate to the practice of Surat Shabd Yoga. For the biographical sections on Shiv Brat Lal, I have used judicious quotes, occasionally paraphrased and edited, from Ansarullah's detailed biography. Without his work, this book couldn't have been completed. I highly recommend reading it for more information. David Christopher Lane, Ph.D., Professor of Philosophy, Mount San Antonio College, Walnut, California. Biographical Glimpses. 1. Shiv Brat Lal Varman, or Verman, was born on February 23, 1860, in the Barohi district of the United Provinces, now known as Uttar Pradesh, in India. He died at the age of 79 in 1939. 2. Shiv Brat Lal was the son of Thakur Shiv Sambat Lal, who was twice married, and his first wife. They had one daughter and 4 sons, Jagashwar Prasad, Ashrafi Lal, Shiv Brat Lal, Shiv Shankar Lal, and Sonbarsa Devi. It was a religious household where the great Hindu epics of the Ramayana and the Bhagavad Gita were recited. One of Shiv Brat Lal's brothers, Shiv Shankar Lal, renounced the world and became a wandering ascetic. 3. Shiv Brat Lal's father, Thakur Shiv Sambat Lal, died on March 29, 1911. 4. Concerning his name, Shiv Brat Lal wrote, "My name is Shiv. I was born on the Shivaratri morning. My grandfather, Chuni Lal, named me after Shiva. My name was quite long. People like long names. I too once used to like it. Now my name is reduced to just 2 letters." 5. The grandfather was very devoted to Shiva, even naming his 2 grandsons and 1 son after the Hindu deity. 6. Soumitra Kumar, Shiv Brat Lal's grandson, explains the origin of the word Varman, Varman. He, Shiv, did not like Kari or Srivastava, being to his name. The Kaisthas of Punjab used to write Verma with their names. People commonly considered it a sign of their Kaistha identity. The Maharishi changed Verma to Verman, Verman. 7. In childhood, Shiv Brat Lal had a severe attack of smallpox, which left deep marks on his whole body. It gave a dark tinge to his face. 8. Shiv Brat Lal described himself thusly, "I was born ugly. My father, who should have loved me, would address me in derogatory words. In a rather taunting way he would remark that Brahma, the Creator, had shaped me with his own hands. This used to hurt me. But I listened to my sympathetic wife and tried to enkindle my vision of beauty. The result was that there was a discernible change in my contours. I could win over my father with my felicity, obedience, and filial affections. My father could now understand me better, and tears would well up in his eyes whenever there was an occasion for separation. Though my youthful looks have betrayed me at the age of 57, I do not look ugly either. The power of thought can do wonders." 9. Shiv Brat Lal was a reticent man. Of various sport games, he liked kabaddi the best. 2 teams are on opposite halves of a small field. They take turns sending a raider into the other half. This is to win points by tackling members of the opposing team. Then the raider tries to return to his own half. He holds his breath and chants the word kabaddi during the whole raid. The raider must not cross the lobby unless he touches any of his opponents. If he does not touch anyone, then he will be out. There is also a bonus line. If the raider touches it and returns to his side of the field, he will get extra points. If the raider is not able to get back to his own side, then he is considered out. Wikipedia. 10. He would play the game with zest. As he valued self-esteem as a rare virtue, he never lost self-restraint. 11. His food was limited to a few chapatis. Shiv Brat Lal wrote about his life. "I have adopted a life devoted to the service of others. I know no difference between friend and foe. Those who hold me in high esteem love me. I love those who mock at me. Where is there room for anger?" 12. His stepmother, while on her deathbed, put her son, Suraj Narayan Singh, in the lap of Shiv Brat Lal and sought a commitment that Shiv Brat Lal would look after the child his whole life. Since he loved him deeply, he took his younger brother along with him to Chinar when he was posted there. When his brother died in 1937, it was a great shock to him. His health began to decline after that. 13. Shiv Brat Lal was married to Yasud Kanwar around 1880-1881. The girl belonged to a family of learned and pious people. Her father was a landlord in the village of Bantwa Sanchwara in Manjanpur Tehsil of Allahabad district. In the house of her in-laws, Yasoda Kanwar was renamed Maharini. 14. Shiv Brat Lal had one son and 3 daughters. The son died in early childhood. His daughters, Sati Devi, Vidyawati, and Kalawati, died a ripe age. His daughters' children have continued his line. 15. Shiv Brat Lal's wife, Yasoda Kanwar, died on September 21, 1904, in Pura Kanun, Goyan. Before her death, she implored her husband, "Marry again, otherwise you would be facing difficulties. I have no objection to your remarrying." When Shiv Brat Lal did not agree to it, his wife added, "Then do not stay at home. Live at an alien place." Shiv Brat Lal decided to dedicate himself to the service of the natives of Punjab while living there. 16. Shiv Brat Lal writes about his wife, "I found a friend in her who cast me in a special mold. I am indebted to my wife for imbibing in me a passion for learning, sermons, and mysticism. I owe all this to her. I know well what I was before I met her, and my God knows it." 17. Shiv Brat Lal writes, "It was through my special kinship with her, his wife, that the foundation of my life was laid." 18. Regarding his early life as a writer, Shiv Brat Lal writes, "After my tour through the length and breadth of India, I joined as the headmaster of Arya Institution at Bareilly. My wife was with me at the time. One day, she asked me to narrate the lives and virtues of noble women. This was the starting point. I started collecting material. She used to listen to me with rapt attention. All this was to please her. Sometimes she was so moved that tears would roll down her cheeks. She goaded me into getting the matter published in simple Urdu. As a result, I compiled 25 titles, which are popularly known as Noble Deeds of Brave and Learned Women of India." 19. Shiv Brat Lal writes, "I honored her will. I wrote voluminous journals about the Hindu women. These journals are available under several titles, such as Hamari Matayan, Our Mothers, Sachi Devian, True Goddesses, Sati Bratant, Faithful Women, Rajasthan Ki Veer Ranyan, Brave Queens of Rajasthan, Sachi Istrian, Real Women, etc." 20. According to Sumitra Kumar, Shiv Brat Lal's belongings consisted of a loose shirt, kurta, dhoti, towel, shawl, duri, stick, and toothbrush. He ate 2 chapatis with dal and vegetables. 21. Shiv Brat Lal's father took a keen interest in the education of his son. He taught him Hindi, Sanskrit, Arabic, and Persian. 22. After the intermediate graduation from Kaist Pashala, Allahabad, Shiv Brat Lal sought admission in the Mayur Central College, Allahabad, and took his M.A. from there in 1887. 23. Shiv Brat Lal writes, "I left college in 1888 and was appointed headmaster in the Church Mission School in Chinar." 24. He served the mission school for 7 or 8 years. From Chinar, Shiv Brat Lal moved on to Bareilly, where he was appointed headmaster of the Arya Samaj Institution. 25. Shiv Brat Lal recollects, "As headmaster, I never accepted any money that was not my due. There were times when I would gladly distribute my income among the teachers and the students." 26. Early in his life, Shiv Brat Lal recalled that a Brahmin from Naini was my family guru. At the insistence of my father, I received religious lessons from him during the early days of my life. However, I had clearly told him that I would seek knowledge of the Supreme only from my spiritual mentor. My teacher, whom I would call Panditji, gladly accepted this condition. Though not properly educated, Panditji was above prejudice, which made him different from others of his kind. 27. Shiv Brat Lal was constantly looking for a spiritual guide. Finally, he found him in Rai Bahadur Saligram Ji, who had once held the office of Postmaster General. 28. On meeting Rai Saligram, his preceptor, Shiv Brat Lal remembers, "I met His Holiness out of helplessness. I felt like a mendicant at his royal court. I seated myself where people placed their shoes. His Holiness looked at me and made room for me on his cot. He said to me, 'You may sit here in the future. I need not tell you again.' I appeared before him only 3 times. During my first appearance before him, His Holiness predicted, 'He will be a classical writer.' When alone, His Holiness would reveal to me the fundamentals of religion and mysticism. I again went to Agra in the 3rd year. Those days I was working on the Montreal Exposition, San Francisco, America. He patted me affectionately and said, 'Deliver sermons wherever you go.' This amazed me. I felt my senses were failing me. I possessed neither the ability nor the mind, nor had I asked for it at that time. I resolved not to appear before His Holiness until I had delivered sermons to my entire satisfaction. 29. Kubernath Srivastava says this about the remarkable meeting between Shiv Brat Lal and his guru. His Holiness Rai Saligram asked his manager to fetch milk for him. When milk was brought, His Holiness took a few drops, and the rest he gave to him, Shiv Brat Lal, and remarked, "Physically, we two may be different, but spiritually we are one. Go and complete your preaching work. I am always with you." 30. Shiv Brat Lal tells us that he joined the Arya Samaj in 1896-97, in the true sense while in Bareilly. In that capacity, he was appointed editor of the Arya Samaj newspaper, Arya Partar. Besides this, he established a journal and a newspaper. 31. It was during the first decade of the 20th century that Shiv Brat Lal gained fame as a writer. 32. Shiv Brat Lal was so deeply shocked at the death of his wife that he renounced everything and took to the life of a wandering ascetic. During his wanderings, he reached the holy city of Haridwar, where his books were published by the Satyadharma Parcharak Press. 33. Shiv Brat Lal later moved to Lahore as editor of the Arya Gazette. Prior, he had heard some derogatory and intolerable remarks made about Lord Rama, Sant Kabir, and Guru Nanak. It hurt Shiv Brat Lal very much, and he decided there and then that he would go to the Punjab and try to reform such narrow-minded thinking. He began writing positive articles based on the insights of Kabir, Nanak, and other sant poets. 34. Eventually Shiv Brat Lal dissociated from the Arya Samaj when it became obvious that there was a negative attitude towards various religious leaders and mystics. He then focused more on Radhaswami faith. 35. About Radhaswami, Shiv Brat Lal writes, "Why did the Radhaswami faith appear? Why did nature feel the need? Were the hundreds of faiths and cults already prevalent among the Hindus insufficient? Why was another faith added? The answer is that the Radhaswami faith is not meant for catering to a crowd. It is a spiritual way of life, a saintly creed. 36. On August 1, 1907, Shiv Brat Lal started his own journal, Sadhu, from Lahore for the propagation of his religious ideas. It was designed to focus on mysticism and Vedanta without any prejudice or bias. 37. The orthodox Arya Samajists looked upon the success of Sadhu as a threat. They tried their best to thwart it. 38. Shiv Brat Lal writes, "The moment I embraced the Radhaswami faith, I had to face stiff opposition and hostility. The attacks from the Arya Samaj camp were motivated and inspired by a feeling of acrimony. I think I, too, am responsible for this type of treatment meted out to me. There were conspiracies and trials. They indulged in calumny. They wrote against me. They said that my M.A. was fake. They dubbed me a crony of the Radhaswami faith. I bore all of this with patience." 39. The tirade against Shiv Brat Lal was fierce. In the Sadhu, Shiv Brat Lal published some articles to reform the Arya Samaj. These articles generated controversy. The library of the journal was set ablaze by some people. 40. The fire claimed Shiv Brat Lal's earlier writings, which are not available today. 41. Shiv Brat Lal also founded several other journals in Urdu, Hindi, and Punjabi, including Martand, Lakshmi Bandar, and Surma. 42. In 1911, Shiv Brat Lal realized his dream of visiting countries outside of India, including Japan and North America. On the way, he stopped at Rangoon, Singapore, and Hong Kong. 43. His visit to America was brief and apparently filled with turmoil and grief, as he was forced into quarantine on Angel Island for 12 days and not treated well. First-hand reports say the conditions were atrocious, and many were mistreated and stranded for days and nights. 44. About his experiences in America, Shiv Brat Lal writes, "Many journalists met me during my stay in America. They advised me to give advertisement in the papers for wider publicity of my ideas. I did not like the suggestion. I did not want to resort to such gimmicks. Ideas of mysticism cannot be promoted through such means. It is against ethics to do so." 45. Shiv Brat Lal wrote several books during his journey, including Panth Sandesh, which he modeled on Pandit Brahm Shankar Misra's discourses on Radhaswami faith. 46. He delivered 2 lectures at the Japanese Buddhist mission in San Francisco. They focused on the pragmatic aspects of Buddhism and on its philosophical outlook. 47. Due to his wife's insistence, Shiv Brat Lal wrote a series of novels. However, he never felt satisfied with his efforts. As he explained, "I am not a novel writer at all. I never paid adequate attention to master this art. The art of storytelling has been there since time immemorial. It will remain there. It is the human instinct which manifests itself in many ways." 48. Shiv Brat Lal also took up organizing educational work. For this purpose, the Radhaswami General Literature Society was established in Lahore. Shiv Brat Lal was its life president. Munshi Gauri Shankar Lal was appointed its honorary secretary. Apart from these two, other members of the society were Thakur Tirlak Chand, Rangoon, and Pandit Faqir Chand, Basra, besides others. 49. It is of great interest to know that Shiv Brat Lal advised his followers that they could get spiritual guidance from various gurus in the Radhaswami movement. He made a list of those he recommended: Anand Sarup of Dayalbagh, Agra; Sawan Singh of Darababa Jaimal Singh, Beas; Madhav Prasad Sinha, Allahabad; Ajurya Prasad, Pipal Mandi; Pandit Faqir Chand, Basra. What is most remarkable, however, on this list, besides being ecumenical, is that Shiv Brat Lal acknowledges his own disciple, Faqir Chand, as a spiritual master, decades before his own departure in 1939. This is unique in the history of the Radhaswami movement. 50. Apparently, Shiv Brat Lal wanted to loosen the time strictures on him as a guru, and thus advised that it would be wise to follow one of these other gurus, including his own chosen successor, Faqir Chand. As Shiv Brat Lal elaborated, I once again request those genuinely interested in spirituality to contact these persons at their convenience. They may thus spare me. This will help me in my efforts to remain in touch with the activities of Arya Samaj and those well-versed in the Vedantic knowledge and mysticism. 51. Nevertheless, despite his mild protestations, Shiv Brat Lal became widely accepted as a master in the Radhaswami tradition. One of his chief disciples, Thakur Nandu Singh, who was the author of Dayal Yoga, used to address Shiv Brat Lal as Data Dayal, and that honorific became commonly used among his disciples and others. 52. Shiv Brat Lal consistently gave money away in charity and never hoarded anything for his own sake. 53. After January 1, 1939, he gave up giving satsang. He would remain in a state of samadhi for the whole day. His body was growing weaker and weaker. 54. Thakur Nandu Singh describes Shiv Brat Lal's final year. In 1938, Data Dayal's younger brother, Thakur Suraj Narayan Singh, died. Shiv Brat Lal was deeply attached to his brother and loved him greatly. After his death, Data Dayal started neglecting his body. Despite his failing health, he used to be present at the satsang gathering at least thrice a day. Nearly a year before his departure, he would speak on the mysteries of mysticism. 55. On February 23, 1939, he felt inclined to lie down and rest. He was at Radhaswami Dham in Purakanum, Goyan. It was on Wednesday night, at 4:30, that he wrapped himself in a white sheet and left this world. 56. That same day, his mortal remains were consigned to the flames in a field behind the Dharamsala. A samadhi was built in the Dham itself. Later, a beautiful temple was constructed on the spot. The arch of the memorial carries the following words engraved on a marble slab: "Here lies the holy ash of a perfect man, Data Dayal, who was the liberator of self from the clutches of body, mind, and soul." Defining yoga. Yog, in its literal sense, means junction, combination, conflux, or meeting. It comes from Sanskrit word yuj, to join. In its primary and secondary meaning, there is no difference at all. Harmony, or concordance, also, is a sort of yog, or union. When religious meditation is aimed at, the mind is fixed in something abstract, with which it gets bound or tied up. This is also yog, or union. Various yogas. All these stages have been classified as under Hat Yog, the union of an individual physicality with the universal physicality; Pran Yog, the union of an individual breath with the universal breath; Mansak Yog, the union of an individual mind with the universal mind; Vigyan Yog, the union of an individual intellect with the universal intellect; Anand Yog, the union of individual blissful or happy condition with the universal blissful or happy condition. Radhaswami System. In the Radhaswami system of yoga practice, the devotee begins his practice from the center of happiness, Anandmay Kosh, leaving aside the consideration of other centers. The union with centers is not of very much importance, as their practice is hazardous, risky, and often injurious, resulting in the derangement of mind. The practice of Anand Yoga is easy, simple, practicably practical, and can be performed by young and old, men and women, adults and boys, not only without any risk to themselves, but also with superior advantages. The attainment of Anand Yoga undoubtedly leads to the blissful state of mind, for it is performed in the Anandmay Kosh, sheath of bliss. The practice begins at the Ajna Chakra, which is situated betwixt the two eyebrows, in the entrance to Shukshma Sharir or subtle body. Speaking of the blissful state of mind, we have to say here that there are various sorts of pleasures: physical, mental, intellectual, and so on. The brutes have their happiness confined to the bodily or outward pleasures. Man in this state is akin to the brute. A mental or intellectual man's happiness is different from that of the brute man. He is of a thinking mode of mind and gets pleasure in thought, philosophy, ethics, etc. The Anand Yogi is different from these. His happiness is spiritual, the result of his concentration on the higher centers. The consciousness of this spiritual happiness leads him farther and farther into the higher spiritual regions, and in the end, he gets himself absorbed in the last stage, which is moksha, liberation. The three states of being. Likewise, the man is encased within and confined in three bodies: causal, mental, and gross, technically called Karana, Sukshma, and Sthula Sharirs. In a similar way, he finds himself bound with the fetters of the three conditional consciousness, called wakefulness, dreaminess, and dreamlessness. Beyond these is the unconditional state of freedom. Liberation in Radhaswami. Radhaswami faith lays much stress on the attainment of this unconditioned condition, of which few of these bound or fettered ones have any glimpse or reflection whatsoever. This is the real and the supreme ruler, and has been termed Radhaswami Dayal. The three realms. The three conditional realms in nature are only reflections, images of the real one. This kingdom is the kingdom of matter in its causal, subtle, and gross form. The real one is beyond these. It is, properly speaking, the spirit land where the spirit rules supreme. It is its undisputed kingdom bereft of trinity, duality, and unity even. For these are the various aspects of manifestation in matter. The praying devotee aspires, with the inspired idea, of bringing down that unconditioned condition on this conditioned plane of existence, the mortal abode of the immortal souls. The universal riddle. Cause and effects have their origin in the causeless one. How this causeless one affects or tends to become the cause and effects is a universal riddle, which is solved by the practice of the Anand Yoga, that is, union through bliss. The many universes. At the very outset, it should be noted that every universe, in its various items, is nothing but a reservoir or fountainhead of the tiny drops that compose it. So, the causal universe, we may without any fear of contradiction say, is the source or spring of all the causes that are latent in it, but find scope in the stages that follow and thus become patent. In the same manner, the subtle universe contains all the items of subtleties that get manifested in their manifold and detailed forms down below. Likewise, the gross universe is the source of numerous grossities underlying it, that assume outward expressions in the course of evolutionary processes. The cause is the seed, as it were, and the devolution, the involution, and the evolution are its various manifestations. It germinates, grows, overgrows, and fructifies. The cause lies hidden in its effects. The animate objects are possessed of three consciousnesses, namely, wakefulness, dream, and absorption, sound sleep. This absorption, sound sleep, is cause. It is reversion to the original source. Everything has been swallowed up there, as the seed swallows the tree, branches, flowers, fruits, leaves, etc., etc. It is the sum and substance of all that had become apparent. The triune state. The dreamy process is the subtle state of manifestation. Everything in it is delicately grafted with nicety of distinctions. It may be likened unto the states of germination, sprouting, budding, vegetation, growth, etc. Inwardly, as the embodied one observes, experiences, and experiments in his introspection when engrossed in and with dreams. It is confined to the internal process of ingrowth, while wakefulness is the gradual progress externally, wherein the cause gets dense and visible to the naked eyes. The tiny drop, as it passes in this way from causal to gross, attains the three sorts of appearances inborn and inherent in it. The Trinity. He thus gets awakened, gets dreamy, and gets absorbed in himself. These states are linked with the trilateral reservoirs detailed above. It is here, in this tiny entity, that we find the principle of 1 in 3 and 3 in 1. It is unity. It is triplicity united into one. Celestial fire. One desirous of spiritual uplift needs to be bathed in the celestial fire that burns within his self. For the path to heaven lies through himself and his self, and it is the internal fire or the light within that by and by leads him to the furnace of effulgent luminary. It is the sign of the fourth heaven inside. The initiated one feels it, perceives it, and is affected by it. The fire within, that is, the flickering spark lying dormant, when ignited by initiation, gets inflamed and leads the light seeker to the realms beyond, beyond, and beyond. The fire of initiation. This emergence into the fire of initiation is the first process whereby the idea of the divine ideal is imparted to the aspirant. These two go side by side, And when some progress is made within, and the progressive soul feels conscious of it, the third process, that is, the sound principle, is taught to him. Here, we resort to the three methods of devotion, of life, light, and love. The unmanifested sound. In the beginning, there was nothing but sound unmanifested. It was from thence arose all manifestation. The force was somewhere polarized, and from it proceeded gradually vibrations after vibrations of sound, and innumerable worlds rushed forth into life and shape, as sparks from the fire or bubbles from the spring, in globular forms, creating spheres after spheres. The eternal sound. Sound is here, there, and elsewhere, rightward and leftward, scattered around in the east, west, south, and north, above and below, everywhere. All personalities have their existence in sound. Sound is the symbol of ecstatic bliss. Sound is the spirit of the spirits. Sound is the light of the lights. Creator, creation, and creatures are nothing but sound. Some scriptures describe this sound as word, the ego principle permeating the universe. It is even so, and it is something else as well. All that is, that will be, and that was, is nothing but sound. All find expression in sound, in word. The mental world. If the world exists at all, it exists in your mentality only. Beyond mentality, there is no world in its real sense. The world is only mental. All elements, all ingredients, everything that is or that is not, belongs to the domain of mentality, and it is mind only that gives name and form to all, and creates its own mental world for itself. As you are, so is your world. As you hear, so is your sound or vocal world. All depends on one's own mentality. To a disturbed mind, the world is nothing but a pandemonium of disturbance. To a quiet mind, there is a quietness and calmness everywhere. The nature of the mind. When the mind awakens, then comes the condition of wakefulness. When the mind dreams, it creates dreams around itself just like the cocoon or cobweb envelope of a silkworm. When the mind sleeps, there is a stoppage of everything, and its mental world comes to an end abruptly, or accidentally, or incidentally. When mind creates the condition of wakefulness, it assumes innumerable form and innumerable names. The lotus flower, before blooming, was concentred in itself, but when it bloomed out, you see there are various petals spreading around, and its scent is being wafted, diffused, and spread far and away. Such is the case with human beings also. Understanding the mind. This mind is to be read, studied, and pondered over. One who knows this knows all. One who does not know this does not know anything at all. Try to know thyself. Thyself is something which is to be revealed and realized within this mind faculty. 3 girls and a cup. 3 girls sitting on the side of a brook were praising their lovely cups. There was hot discussion among them, and no one could decide as to which was the best. A poor beggar woman reached the spot. They requested her to decide their dispute. The woman replied, I am extremely thirsty. You better let me drink water from your cups, and then I will act as a judge." 2 of the girls refused to let her drink from their cups, while the third, first of all, cleaned her cup, and then filled it with water and presented it to the woman. She drank out of it and made them understand that the cup which quenched her thirst by handing over the water to her was the best of all. Others were worthless. There was no beauty in them. On love. One who loves one loves all. One who does not love one cannot love any. If love has entered one's mind, there is room in his house. But where there is no love in the mind, there is no room in the house. Love is beauty, and love is art. Love, lover, and beloved are not 3, but they are one and the same thing. 3 in 1 and 1 in 3. One single soul in 3 bodies, pervading them all at the same time. They say love is unselfish, and it is even so, for where there is love, there is no duality. God equals love. They say love is blind, and it is quite so, for where there is love, there is no reasoning and no wrangling of words. Love is its own proof. It required no proof for its presence or existence. Love is a pervading principle. Had it not been present everywhere, the world would not have come into existence. It is love that creates. It is love that multiplies. And it is love that finds room for everybody. We are born, we live, and die, and are absorbed in love. For God is nothing but love. Had there been no love, there would have been no God. Had there been no God, there would have been no love. Love and God are the same thing. Shiv Brat Lal on death. Life carries no charms for us. We are sick of it. We long for death. We are wide awake, not lost in idleness. It is not oblivion, but the desire to embrace death. We do not aspire for heaven. Hell cannot frighten us. We are the seekers of truth, yearning for union with the Supreme. The sight of physicians makes us laugh. Tell them we don't need them anymore. We have seen hell and heaven. They are within us. We are not the helpless who beg for this or that. O Nayar, both have now dwindled away from my vision. We see no mercy, no sin, no doubt, no ego. Nothing remains behind. Shiv Brat Lal's legacy. Shiv Brat Lal was a prodigious writer. It is estimated that he authored over 3,000 books, pamphlets, and articles. He founded a number of journals and had a wide range of literary interests. Most of his books were in Urdu and Hindi, though he did write several books on Shabd Yoga in English. Perhaps most remarkably, he had the unique ability of uniting Muslims, Hindus, and Sikhs together, since each of these groups found his writings admirable and worthy of respect. Shiv Brat Lal's main successor was Baba Faqir Chand, 1886 to 1981, who he so deeply admired that he appointed him a guru 20 years before his own death, and even published a book of Faqir's own sayings under the title Faqir Shabdwali. Today, there are many who owe allegiance to Shiv Brat Lal as their spiritual guide through his numerous books and insights. Key sources. The following are Shiv Brat Lal's books in English on Shabd Yoga and Radhaswami teachings. 1. Light on Anand Yog, 1931. 2. Shabd Yoga, 1918. 3. Entry into the Kingdom of Heaven on Earth. 4. Message of Peace, 1933. For a deeper and more detailed insight into the life and work of Shiv Brat Lal, many parts of which were used in this book, please refer to Muhammad Ansarullah's most remarkable biography entitled Data Dayal Maharishi Shiv Brat Lal Verman. Maharishi Shiv Brat Lal and his successor, Baba Faqir Chand. To Faqir Shiv Brat Lal wrote, "You have come blessed with a form which is really wonderful and unique. Your mission is welfare of the humanity. Remove the walls which divide the humanity and tell the entire mankind how it can live a happy, peaceful life." Shiv Brat Lal appointing his heir. Hazur Data Dayal Ji called Baba Faqir Chand to his room. Hazur Data Dayal Ji placed 1 coconut and 5 coins on Baba Faqir Chand's hands, and made a long frontal mark on his forehead, and bowed himself to his feet, saying, "Faqir, you are yourself the supreme master of your time. Start delivering spiritual discourses to the seekers, and initiate them into path of Santmat. In due course, your own satsangis will prove as your true guru, and it is through your experiences with them that the desired secret of Santmat would stand revealed to you. Faqir, you may be suffering from 99 shortcomings, but one sure virtue of truth in you will surely lead you to your goal of life. You will not only redeem yourself, but would help many others to attain release." Radhaswami.